guys?
Dr. Jacqueline here from the Invitality Wellness Center, your guys' Wellness Way affiliate, coming to you live this evening, again, from our basement. So we are super, super excited to be with you guys tonight. And we're just going to give a minute for everybody to pop on as we get rocking and rolling this evening. So hope you're having a great week. Hope everything has started off really nicely for you. I know there's a ton of stuff opening up here in Colorado. Hopefully your area is similar as well. So tonight, in case you guys didn't see our little preview, we've got Paul demoing our finger prick immunolabs. Oh, you didn't tell him. What was the title?
The most quick and easy thing you can do for your health.
Sweet, I love it. So, I love it, you guys. That is so exciting. So, well, I guess I, spilled the beans already.
Stay with us till the end and you get to see how we do it. So,
yeah, so I'm super excited to share this with you guys. Let me first talk about, one of the first things that I talk about a new patient with, which is food. Food, whether we test food allergies or not, is a really big deal. So whether you have kind of arrived at this or not, what you put in your mouth every day matters. Either you are building towards being healthier and making good choices, or you're not.
Yes.
And, obviously a lot of us go like this. And sometimes you do really well for a huge chunk of time, and then sometimes we don't.
Like Thanksgiving.
Yes, holidays. Normally this time of year would be graduation parties.
Yes.
But those really aren't happening right now. So for all my patients with their food allergies, they're lucking out right now because they just don't have to be in a situation where they have to make a hard choice.
Yeah.
But it matters, you guys, and it matters for your kids too. So it matters what you put in their mouth.
So when you say food allergies, maybe somebody is watching, they don't know what that means.
Yes.
So is that like a seasonal summertime allergy? What's the difference?
Yes. So let's talk immune reactions. So you guys, food allergies are an allergy. So similar to seasonal allergies, they are all allergies. They are all your immune system reacting. So a food sensitivity is actually not a correct way to describe it because it is recruiting your immune function. Therefore, it is an allergy. Period. End of story. Now, the reason why traditional medical allergists don't look at food is because it's a different section of the immune system. So when we do, if you want to get into kind of the science of it, our food allergy test, we're looking at what's called the IgG reactions. And so these are the most common type of immune function reaction that's found in your GI area, so your gut lining, which is different than the skin, than the lungs. You have all these types of immune pieces all over the body, but certain ones are found more in certain places. And they create different types of reactions. So traditionally what a medical allergist will test is what's called IgEs. And I always say E is emergency. So think of E and think of emergency. If you, for example, have a shrimp allergy and you eat shrimp and you have that type of allergic reaction, that part of the immune system, when you activate it, is hives, throat swelling, lips swelling, your heart starts racing, you start creating this, whole fight or flight response, and it is a very fast and swift reaction. And that's why E is emergency. And if you have a shrimp allergy, a peanut allergy, and it's bad, you're going to carry what's called an EpiPen with you. Because if for some reason you were exposed, you need help very quickly because it's such a powerful, large reaction. The IgGs, I always say, they're low and slow. And that is actually producing, over time, more of a chronic long-term problem for you because it's producing global inflammation.
So my question is, why is mainstream medical not looking at this, or why do they kind of balk
So a lot of times, those types of medical allergists, when it comes to a hyperallergic reaction, like what I just talked about, that IgE side of things, they are going to look at doing allergy shots. That's their remedy, is to basically work on the immune function by doing allergy shots. Something like an IgE, that's possible. So you can kind of intervene with the immune function that way. It's not what I would recommend doing personally, but you can do that. Something like an IgG, basically you work on healing up the gut lining, rebuilding the immune function, and some of that is just simply by avoidance of everything. Hey James,
Hey,
got
James.
a couple people popping on here. And so for them, it's just not appealing because there's not a lot that they are going to quote unquote earn, because there's not really an intervention that they would provide other than, some guidance and nutritional pieces and support. And so for them, it's just not appealing. They could test it. A lot of them will refuse to. And they don't feel like that part of the immune system, you guys, is 80% of your immune function.
Wow.
80. And they don't think that that's important to address. Now the 20, don't get me wrong, that's the majority of the IgEs. That is important because clearly if you have a peanut allergy, it's no joke. Like, you do have to be conscious, and I would understand why you want to help that function of the immune system. But 80% of your immune function, and you're just going to ignore the vast majority of it. I mean, that's
crazy.
That's crazy. Like, to me, that's a foundational piece that they just kind of overlook because they don't feel like there's an intervention that they can provide, which is, a medication or a shot.
Yeah. For those popping on, so we're hopping on this Monday evening to wish you guys all well, and we're going to be demoing our new finger prick food allergy test.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be doing this test tonight just because I have just been feeling some symptoms, and I feel like my food allergies have changed since the last time that I have had this test, which is actually only a few months ago. So
yeah, just time to retest.
Yeah.
As you guys can probably guess, like, your immune function changes over time. That's the great part. And that's also a huge difference between what we're testing with our food allergies, the IgGs. Those change. Your immune system changes over time. Now, E's, similarly, for what an allergist would test, can change over time. They're a little more difficult, though. Some of them are for life. Your immune function is kind of stuck, so to speak, on that side a little bit more than on the G side. The G side, which we work with regularly in the office, is stuff that typically is movable.
Yeah.
Because we do the right things to heal everything.
Well, because I've been doing this almost 3 years now, I've had several of these tests done.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I actually know pretty soon when I feel like my food allergies have changed.
Yes.
But what are some of the symptoms?
Hey, Dr. Patrick. How's
Hey,
it going?
what's up, brother? So what are some of the symptoms and things that somebody may be experiencing because they're eating their food allergies?
Yes. So food allergies, like I was saying, so they're low and slow. So if you eat one of your food allergies, just one, that reaction can last up to 4 days.
Wow.
Now that's the maddening part, because I have patients come to me all the time and they're like, oh my gosh, I've done the elimination diet, I've done a nutritional, journal tracking everything, I've done the app, and they're driving themselves crazy because they can't figure out what they're reacting to. That's a big difference. So that is, 4 days worth, you guys. That's a lot of meals between what you ate and reacted to and all the things that you've eaten since then.
Which is a perfect example of why you need this test. Because if you eat something on Friday and it's delayed and you don't know that it's actually bothering you, you may not know till late as Monday that it was actually an allergy.
Yeah, and up to Tuesday.
So it's really hard, even if you do a food journal, which I've done before, to really find out what's bothering you. So it looks like we got a question coming in. So Flash asked, what is the difference between this test and other immune food allergy tests? So great question.
Yes.
So this is, I'll let you explain what this test is.
Yes. So we use immunolabs for our food allergy tests, and there's several reasons why. So they are the only lab in the U.S. that is FDA certified that does the food allergy testing. So what that means is they have voluntarily had the FDA come in and do double-blinded testing on their tests to show that they are reproducible and reliable.
And they're accredited.
Right. Through the FDA as well. So like I said, that whole accreditation and testing process, they are very transparent with how they run everything. And in terms of food allergy testing, this is more the science side, they are the only lab that does all 4 IgGs. So you have, in terms of Gs, 4 different types of IgG white blood cells, and a lot of labs only test 2. Some of the better ones test 3. Immunolabs is the only one that tests all 4. Now here's the kicker, certain foods only react to some of those white blood cells. So if you're missing one of those on the test, you could have basically missed out on knowing a food allergy simply because the labs that are cheaper don't do it that way.
Yeah.
So the cool part is with this new lab as well that they have with the finger prick kit, you have a much smaller quantity of blood. And they previously, which we still do for certain patients, have asked for 2 full vials of blood. And the reason why you needed that is because they could not have a reproducible, reliable test with less quantities up until just a few weeks ago.
Right.
So other labs out in the country using smaller quantities prior to now, not accurate, you guys, because they couldn't qualify the same amounts side by side, basically, and produce the same results with now less blood.
That's huge.
Up until a couple weeks ago, that's crazy.
Real quick, for those hopping on, hey Jeff, how you doing, buddy? We're talking about our food allergy tests that we do in our office and why this is really one of the most single important tests that you can take.
Yes.
I mean, think about it, guys. What do you do at least 3 times a day, probably more, every day? You eat.
Mm-hmm.
You eat food.
You do.
And honestly, you don't know what harm you can be doing if you've not had this test.
Yes.
Literally. So really, this is their Immunolab's new test. They're the primary lab that we use. They just came out with this finger prick test. Like Dr. Jacqueline said, what we had to do previously was get it intravenously, which isn't bad. I mean, it's $2 of blood, but you know,
Venipuncture, two vials, not bad. However, now they don't have to use that anymore, which is super cool.
Well, real quick before we get going, stay with us. We're going to be doing this test live.
Yes, we will demo it for you.
You were going down the path that I wanted you to go down, and that was, so what is the difference between a lab like Immunolabs, who's been around since like 1978, okay, and I've seen some Groupon tests come in that are like $15. So being transparent with you guys, this test is $225 in our office. That is exactly what I'm going to pay when I take this test. We do not upcharge for this test. But what is the difference between getting a $15 Groupon test compared to this test?
And I'll add on top of that, there's no other offices besides Wellness Waves that have that price. I will just say that. If you go and order the same kit directly from Immunolabs, it will cost you more. So you get special pricing when you run it through a Wellness Way doctor. So biggest difference is, like I was saying, a lot of it comes down to how they're testing, the science behind it, what they're testing. They may not be testing all of those white blood cells, so the results that you're getting are not going to be reliable, reproducible. So this new technology that they are using is 99.5% reliable and reproducible. There is no other lab in the country that has those types of food allergy results. So, I mean, are you willing to gamble 10%?
Right.
I mean, there's labs out there that it's 70%, you guys. Like, they're missing a whole 30%. And that's, I mean, I'm not willing to do that for my patients. They only get the best,
And
the most accurate.
A lot of these Groupon type labs, don't they farm those out and they don't verify their results. They do their tests, they send them out.
A lot of them are basically a marketing front, and they're being farmed out to different labs all across the country. This is one lab in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Paul and I have personally walked the lab, seen everything in action. Another thing that's very, very different with immunolabs, they do their own internal checks, blinded every single week, you guys. Once a week, they blind test stuff to make sure, again, that everything is coming out accurately so that they catch a problem, if there is one, and nip it in the butt right away, which is fabulous. I mean, they work extremely, extremely hard and are always cutting edge because that's the kind of lab that they are. They're absolutely amazing. I would personally want to run this with anybody different than the best. Yeah. Like, you're getting the best lab that does it the absolute best for food allergies.
Yeah, and they're accredited, which is a whole different process, but they've done something like 48 million tests, right?
They've been in business since the 70s, and they keep reinventing the test. So like we're going to show you tonight, this is brand new. I've only had this test kit in our lab or in our office for patients for a couple of weeks. It's brand new. They're rolling it out. We feel really, really excited for us because sometimes a venipuncture blood draw is tough. So this is huge, and I test a lot of kids in the office. This is huge for them, or those that just for convenience. This makes things so much easier. So we're super pumped for that. But you guys, you eat every day.
Yeah.
Let's get real. Like, whether you love food, hate food, whatever your relationship is with food, you better be doing stuff to help build your health versus breaking it down. And understanding how to feed your body is huge. So another thing that I always tell my patients is, if you have not done a food allergy test, you don't know the best way to eat.
And so
you don't.
If you're constantly bombarding your system with food that responds to these IgGs,
yes.
Does that create something like leaky gut aside from inflammation?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have food allergies, basically this leaky gut process is occurring. And when you create a food allergy where your immune system is reactive to something, you can have a headache, you could have bloating, you could have stomach pain, you could have a rash, you could have some digestive issues, you could have a headache. The list just goes on of what it creates in the body, and these low, slow reactions day after day. That's why you might have a great day, and then all of a sudden you have an awful day, and you can't put a finger on it. And it is a trigger for a lot of things in the body.
All right, so let's do this. So
yes.
While we're getting prepped on this, guys, throw us any questions that you have.
If you guys have more questions surrounding food, surrounding any other health issues, it doesn't have to pertain to this, but the cool thing is with this, it's super easy.
So this is what we put the blood on.
Mm-hmm.
The kit comes completely with everything you need. You got your Lancet, so I've wiped my finger with alcohol. I got the rubber band on.
Yep.
So all I need to do is this and do
just
the blood.
Prick and then fill up those 4. So super easy. It's not hard to do. Again, the cool thing is, while he's filling these, this is something that can be done quickly, that can be done easily, and especially those that might have issues with the blood draw, this opens the door for them. We don't like to have patients having a rough time as much as we can. Obviously, we need the information, but this is going to be super, super helpful. So one question I get a lot, again, surrounding food is, well, what's the best way for me to eat? Should I do keto? Should I do paleo? Should I do Whole30? You guys, again, this just puts a line in the sand because it's completely individual. Because I will tell you, I have run a lot of food allergy tests in my office, and no 2 patients' test results are ever the same. So there's a lot of things that commonly come up, That's why, as wellness way practitioners, we generally recommend patients be gluten-free, dairy-free, because those two things are extremely inflammatory foods to the GI and to the gut. And so definitely those questions, if you're like, man, I've done, the Whole30 and I gained weight. Okay, you probably had a food allergy, even though you're quote unquote eating clean. There's a reason why it didn't work. So especially for ladies, if you are not dropping weight and you're eating clean and you're doing all the good things, you probably have a food that's bugging your system, that's hanging things up. I definitely have seen patients, like I had this guy, it could be joint pain, you guys.
Oh, hey, Dr. Beth popped on.
Oh, yay! Hey guys, Dr. Beth is watching. I had a guy that I was adjusting his knee. His left knee just kept bugging him. I would get great adjustments. It would be out of pain for like a day. I could not pin it down, and I said, you got to test your foods. So simply after we knew his food allergy, about 10 days in, guess what went away?
Wow.
His left knee pain. His left knee pain was tied hands down to his food allergies. So there's a lot of things that, again, start with this process, and that's why for a lot of patients this is a go-to recommendation.
So one of the questions that we get a lot, working in the front office while she's seeing patients is, if I end up with 30 food allergies, will that go away? Will that change?
Yes. And that's the best part, you guys. So some patients start off with a lot, some start off with a little. Everything is dependent on the person that we're starting with and kind of what their specific health things are. But the key thing is we work on healing that up, because you shouldn't have any at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But the question that I get a lot too is, well, why do so many people have them? Like, why is this such a common problem? And I just tell them, well, you live in the U.S.
And why is that a problem?
You guys, our food system here in the U.S., if you're not aware of this, is not a good one. It's not transparent. There's a lot of things not labeled. There's a lot of ingredients that we allow into our food system here. Pesticides, spraying, GMOs, these are all regular things in our food system. And that creates gut damage from very young on. So if you're even in your 20s or your 30s, I have young kids that are already starting to have autoimmune GI reactions. That's crazy to me, guys.
All right, so check it out. Am I good? So look,
that
guys,
looks very nice.
Matter
You did
of
a
few
very good job.
minutes. Just filled the tips of that there, and I'm done. So we literally pack it up and ship it off. And
Yep, let it dry for a little bit, and then we'll close it all up, put on the labeling, and off it goes to the lab down in Florida.
So just to recap, why is this one of the quickest and single most important things you can do for your health?
Because you eat every day. And food for many patients is a huge trigger to a lot of health issues. So the key thing, that I'm always trying to do as a wellness way doc, as well as all the other wellness way practitioners, is identifying that patient's triggers. Because if we can take those and heal and build up their system and create those things to not trigger them anymore, guess what happens? They get better.
Oh, I got another common question we get all the time. Do the things I love to eat end up on this test?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I almost laughed when I said that.
Yes. So, think about it, you guys. This makes sense if you just think about it. If you absolutely love strawberries, and strawberries themselves are very healthy. They're a great fruit. They don't have a lot of fruit sugar. They're high in vitamin C and a lot of other vitamins. But if you eat strawberries every single day, you have strawberries for breakfast, and then you have strawberries for a snack after dessert, and then you throw strawberries in your smoothie, and then you love strawberries so much you do some strawberry fruit juice. Yeah. Just imagine that. Strawberries hitting your system all the time. If you have one bad day where your GI gets a little bit damaged, and you have strawberries in your system, what do you think is the chance that you're going to start reacting to them?
Yeah.
high. So a lot of the foods that patients love to eat and eat a lot are on that first test. And that's just simply because they're in your system so much that the chance that your immune function starts to react to them is high.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is we heal that stuff. You know, I love showing a patient that has 30 food allergies, taking them down to 10
Yeah.
or taking them down to 15, you know, and letting them see their system changing.
Yeah, I've gone from the highest test that I had 37 food allergies, and then I went down to 19, and then I think I'm down to like 8 or 9 right now. So hopefully I only have a handful.
I think just a handful, and then for him, that's the cool part, and we talk about all the time, as well as wellness way docs. We don't guess, we just test. So there's one that I think I'm gonna see on his test. I think it's sunflower.
Yep.
It's one that he's had before in the past. And the cool thing is, I don't know why, but just his body and sunflower, they kind of do this little dance. He's okay with it for a while. We try not to overdo it, and then it's come back on a few tests.
And if you really read the labels on anything that's processed, it has sunflower, safflower. It is super difficult to not find that ingredient in something. So we don't eat a lot of processed food, but you know, if there is something that you know, like if you eat a tortilla chip or something like that, you buy the best tortilla chip there is. It's, you know, I think there's only like 2 brands we found that doesn't have sunflower, safflower. So you know, food matters, guys. It really does.
Yes, food is a big deal, you guys, and so that's why for a lot of people, it is one of the best things you can do. Because it tells you about yourself. And so if you've ever wondered, there is really no bad test you can run. It's just good information so that you can start to take control of your health.
Right. And literally in 5 minutes, guys,
Yes.
I was able
Super
to do
easy.
this. I didn't have to have a phlebotomist draw my blood. It was super quick. You know, you take it, you pack it up in this box, and you even get the shipping pack with it. You ship it out.
FedEx.
So, you know, any wellness way across the nation or internationally in Ireland, you can get this test from them. And the cool part is you get a map, and that's the best thing is you get not only an overall picture of your health, but with the results you get a map.
Yes.
And with what the results you get from immunolabs, you're not only getting, hey, your body reacted to these foods, you're getting, here are the foods your body didn't react to, because that's another common question that we get. Is like, oh my God, I have 30 food allergies. What am I going to eat?
What do I eat?
I can't eat anything.
Yeah.
No, you can, because there's 110 foods that we test on this. So do the math. If there's 110 foods we test for, then you get 30. The remaining, there you go. Those are the foods you can eat. And we even have resources that, like the Yumly app, that you can
Yumly sauce.
download. You put in your food allergies real quick, and it'll populate recipes for you. Super easy. So,
and your wellness way doctors, they're a huge resource.
Yep, absolutely.
Or a health coach, whatever kind of that office has as support. The cool thing is, I always tell patients, you're not alone in this. If you're feeling overwhelmed because you're like, well, what do I eat? Like, you're well resourced, and you will have support, and that's another piece that makes it very different.
That's the biggest thing too. Like, I see a lot of stuff on, you know, we have these devices, we all are on them every day. You know, you see stuff on Instagram, you see stuff on Facebook, and there is a lot of bad information out there. We're not saying that ours is the right information. We think it is, but we want you to do the research. Go research immunolabs. Go see how they're accredited lab. Compare them to a Groupon lab. I'm confident you'll come back and find that, you know, immunolab's a great lab. But that's the thing. There's a lot of bad information out there, and with this, you get a roadmap for your health on what should I eat, how should I eat. So it doesn't matter keto, paleo, vegan, carnivore, whatever. You can do all those things, and if you don't have that map, you're going to be taking a lot of detours with your health, and your health is your biggest investment. So why in the hell would you want to take a detour with that?
Well, and why would you make it take longer or be harder?
Right.
Most people want easy.
Yes.
This creates your easy button.
Nobody wants to heal slower.
Yeah, all my patients want to get better faster, like starting tomorrow. Right. So that's your easy button. It lays it out and makes it black and white so that you know exactly what to do.
Yep.
And everybody needs to eat. Like, why not make it easier.
Well, and I love this analogy before we wrap up, and it's, your body is the Ferrari and the food is the gasoline. So you're not going to put shitty unleaded gas into your Ferrari, right? It's a $300,000 car.
Yeah.
Your body, that's a perfect analogy. Why are you putting crappy food, in your body? And there is crappy food, but there's also food that is harming your body. So just like regular gas would probably harm the engine of a Ferrari, regular food that is going to harm your body is something that you don't want in your body. You want to eliminate it and get it out.
And maybe you think it is that high octane fuel because it's lettuce.
Yeah, lettuce shows
I
up
have
on this
seen
test all
lettuce
the
on
time.
food allergies, you guys. Like maybe you're thinking you're putting the good stuff in, but for your body, it's not. And that's where, I have seen lettuce.
Yeah.
And that just baffles people. I have seen kale. I personally have had kale on my food allergies. Those are great foods by themselves, but not for every body at every point in time.
Yeah.
And so,
All right. Well, any more questions before we hop off, guys?
Any more?
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for popping on. Hoping you're having a good Monday.
Yeah, we tend to pop on every Monday night, so stop by, check out our Facebook page. If you know somebody that could benefit from this information, share it with them. Like and
share it, you guys. This is huge. Like a lot of people right now are very concerned about their health, and this is one huge piece that you can understand and take action on.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys joining us tonight. We hope that this is just a forum for good information that you can take and go research, and it's educational, especially with all the stuff going on right now. So take a break from social media after this video, of course, and turn off the news and develop a plan for your health. What are you going to do to get better? What areas can you really focus on for your health? Because that stuff really matters. So, but anyway, we hope you guys have a great evening, and thanks for joining us.
You as well. Thanks for joining.
Yep.
Looking forward to seeing you guys soon.
Yep.
So have a great rest of your week.